Dr. Ihtisham Iqbal, and I'll talk on ABG interpretation. Nothing to disclose. The CME planning committee, reviewer, moderator, and any individual connected to this activity confirms that they do not have any relevant financial relationships with any commercial interest to disclose. What is an arterial blood gases? pH is actually measurement of hydrogen ion concentration in the blood. PCO2 is partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and PO2 is partial pressure of oxygen in the blood. HCO3 stands for bicarbonate levels in blood. BE is base excess, and SaO2 is oxygen saturation. This is normal values for pH, which is 7.35 to 7.45, and normal value for PCO2 is 35 to 45. PO2 normal value is 80 to 100. Bicarb is 22 to 26. Base excess is -2 to +2, and oxygen saturation is above 95%. So what is an acidemia? When pH is less than 7.35, this indicates patient is probably acidemic. PCO2 is more than 45, or bicarb is less than 25, less than 22. And if pH is more than 7.45, PCO2 is less than 35, bicarb is more than 26, this indicates alkalemia. So first step is to determine whether the numbers make sense or not. For this, we need to understand Henderson equation, that is H ions is equal to 24 into concentration of carbon dioxide divided by concentration of bicarb in blood. So this is the normal table which indicates that what H ions levels that corresponds to pH. So suppose we have pH 7.62, PCO2 is 30, PO2 is 85, bicarb is 30. So do the numbers make sense? If anybody can tell me. So we apply the formula, that is H ion is 24 into PCO2 divided by bicarb. PCO2 is 30, bicarb is 30. So concentration of hydrogen ions in blood is 24, and this corresponds to 7.62. It means that the numbers given in arterial blood gases, they make sense. This is step one. Now step two is to determine that what is the given arterial blood gases are acidemic or it indicates alkalemia. But one thing is important here, that in mixed disorder, the pH may be normal, but the bicarbonate level, PCO2 level, or the anion gap will signal the presence of disturbance. So apply step two here. What do you think that this ABG indicates acidemia or alkalemia? pH is 7.62. So PCO2 is less than 45 and bicarb is more than 24. This indicates patient is having alkalemia. Third step is to determine whether the primary problem is metabolic or respiratory. So apply step three. What do you think that amongst PCO2 and bicarb, which one is responsible to raise pH to 7.62? Either this is PCO2 or bicarb. So PCO2 is 35 over here and bicarb is 35. The normal value is PCO2 is 35 to 45. This is normal. And the normal value of bicarb is 24 to 28, but here the value is 35. It means that this is bicarbonate, which is responsible to raise pH levels. So this is metabolic alkalosis. Step four is to find out whether there is appropriate compensation for the primary disturbance or not. So let's learn compensation first. We must understand when patient has primary disorder as respiratory acidosis, compensation is metabolic alkalosis, and for metabolic alkalosis, compensation is respiratory acidosis. When patient has respiratory alkalosis, compensation is metabolic acidosis, And for metabolic acidosis, compensation is respiratory alkalosis. So in respiratory conditions, the kidneys will attempt to compensate and vice versa. So what is the suggested response of kidneys in chronic respiratory acidosis? Whenever there is respiratory acidosis, they try to eliminate hydrogen ions and absorb more bicarbonates. And when there is respiratory alkalosis, they try to absorb more hydrogen ions and eliminate more bicarbonate level, more bicarbonates. So this is how we understand compensation. So one thing is important over here, that the respiratory compensation is always faster than the metabolic compensation. We need to understand and memorize these formulas, that for metabolic acidosis, the compensation is decrease in PaCO2. And the appropriate measurement is done with this formula, that 1.5 into bicarb plus 8 plus minus 2. And for metabolic alkalosis, the change in PaCO2 should be equal to 0.6 into change in bicarb. And this is respiratory acidosis. It may be acute or chronic. For acute, the rise in bicarb should be equal to change in PaCO2 divided by 10 plus minus 3. And for chronic respiratory acidosis, the rise in bicarbonate should be equal to 3.5 into change in PaCO2 divided by 10. So acute decrease in pH should be equal to 40 minus PaCO2 divided by 10 into 0.08. You need to memorize these formulas. And chronic decrease in pH should be equal to 40 minus PaCO2 divided by 10 into 0.03. So for respiratory alkalosis, it may be acute or chronic. For acute, the fall in bicarbonate should be equal to 2 multiplied by change in PaCO2 divided by 10. And for chronic, change in bicarbonate should be equal to 5 into change in PaCO2 divided by 10 up to 7. So this is metabolic alkalosis. For metabolic alkalosis, increase in PaCO2 should be equal to 40 plus 0.6 into change in bicarbonates. For metabolic acidosis, decrease in PaCO2 should be equal to 1.5 into bicarbonate plus 8 plus minus 2. So here we apply the step 4. pH is 7.62, PaCO2 is 35, PO2 is 85, bicarbonate is 35. So first step is, do the numbers make sense? Yes, the numbers make sense. Step 2 is to find out whether this is acidemia or alkalemia. So the given ABGs, this suggests that patient is having alkalosis. Step number 3, either this is metabolic or alkalosis. As bicarbonate is beyond 24, so this is metabolic alkalosis. So for metabolic alkalosis, we know that the formula is 0.6 into change in bicarb. So if we take bicarbonate level as 24 normal, and in the given sample bicarbonate level is 35, so the rise in bicarbonate level is 11, is equal to 11. And 11 into 0.6, 11 into 0.6, 11 into 0.6 is like is equal to 9, probably 9. So if we add 9 into PaCO2, the concentration of the expected rise in PaCO2 should be around 46, 47 or 48. But in the given ABGs, this is PaCO2 is 35. It means that patient is not able to compensate properly. PaCO2 is not rising as it is expected by the given formula. So it means that patient is has decreased decreased levels of PaCO2. So it means that patient may have double disorder. Patient may have metabolic alkalosis plus respiratory alkalosis. Step 5 is the anoin gap elevated? If so, we need to assess delta ratio and osmolar gap. How we calculate delta ratio? Sodium minus bicarb plus chloride. The normal values is 88 to 14 is metabolic acidosis. Anoine gap corrected for hypoalbuminemia. For every 1 gram decrease in albumin, we need to add 2.5 milliequivalent to calculated anoine gap. So delta ratio is anoine gap minus 12 divided by 24 minus bicarb is equal to anoine gap minus 12, 24 minus bicarb. This is delta ratio. And if delta ratio is 1 to 2, this is pure metabolic acidosis. If it is less than 1, there is associated non-anoine gap metabolic acidosis. And if it is more than 2, patient has metabolic alkalosis. Osmolar gap is calculated as Maillard osmolarity minus 2 into sodium minus glucose divided by 18 minus BUN divided by 2.8. So this is how we measure osmolar gap. So we put it all together. What is the most likely diagnosis? So I sum up all these steps to. So we sum up all these. Number one is Henderson equations. First of all, we have to apply Henderson equation. Step two, we have to determine whether patient is having acidemia or alkalemia. Third step is to determine whether patient has metabolic or respiratory problem. Fourth is to calculate compensation. Fifth is anoine gap and osmolar gap. Sixth is delta ratio, and then we put all together. So now we study some cases. 56 years old female having some neurological disease required ventilator support for several weeks. She seemed most comfortable when hyperventilated to PaCO2 28 to 30 millimeter of mercury. She required daily doses of Lasix to assure adequate urine output and received 40 millimole divided by liter IV potassium each day. On 10th day of ICU, her ABG on 24% oxygen is given. pH is 7.62, PCO2 is 30, PO2 is 85, bicarb is 30, base excess is 10, potassium is 2.5, and blood pressure is 115 by 80, pulse is 88, respiratory rate is 10, tidal volume is 1000 mils, and minute ventilation is 10 liters. So step one is to apply Henderson equation. Anybody amongst the audience who can apply this Henderson equation over here? You can raise hands. So if we apply the Henderson equation, okay, this is Dr. Kamranullah, who can tell me whether the numbers make sense or not. डॉक्टर कामरान अपना माइक ऑन करें. डॉक्टर कामरान अपना माइक ऑन करें. ओके, मिस मारिया नईम अपना माइक ऑन करें.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम. Can you tell me whether the numbers make sense or not? You can apply Henderson equation. 24 into PCO2 is 30 divided by bicarb is 30.
Yes.
Yes. Madam Maria, can you tell me whether the numbers make sense or not?
Yes, it does.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, so we move on to step two. Step two is this ABG is acidotic or alkalemic. Miss Maria.
Sir, it is alkalosis.
Okay, well, so this is metabolic alkalosis or respiratory alkalosis?
This is metabolic alkalosis.
Why you are saying this?
Because the bicarbonate value is more than 20.
Is more than 24, right? So can you tell me what is the compensation for metabolic alkalosis? The compensation for metabolic alkalosis should be respiratory acidosis, right? So can
Yes.
you apply the formula? The rise in PaCO2 should be equal to 0.6 into change in bicarb, right? So 0.6
Right, sir.
into change in bicarb means if we take 24 as a reference value of bicarb and given value is 30, so so 6 into 0.6, answer should be 3.6, right?
Right, sir.
So what should be the expected PCO2? If we take 40 as a reference value, the expected value should be 43.6, right?
Right, sir.
Am I right? Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So the expected value should be 43.6. Why this patient has low PCO2? It means that patient is washing out his PCO2 as well.
Yes, sir.
Fall in PCO2 suggests that this patient may have respiratory alkalosis as well. So to me, this patient has double disorder, that is respiratory alkalosis as well as metabolic alkalosis. Can you calculate
Okay,
a
it
noise
is
gap?
mixed.
Can you calculate a noise gap? No, because the given values. Next. Next. So the answer is respiratory alkalosis and metabolic alkalosis. I have a lot of case studies and you can solve all these case studies with applying these six points, right? So take home message is valuable information can be gained from an ABGs as to the patient's physiological condition. Remember that ABG analysis is only part of the patient assessment, and be systematic with your analysis. Follow 6 steps and you will have an answer. If anybody has any query, you can email me. I'll be happy to answer you. It's not magic understanding ABGs. It requires only little practice. Any question? Thank you.